Okay, I'm going to, right, I've got too many things. I'm going to have to, this was a prop that I was going to use. Excellent. Well, thank you for that fabulous introduction. And great. That's me. And that's a nice backdrop. So, yes, engineer, and dealing with lots and lots of sexy things. So, as a civil engineer, we do really sexy stuff. And but I'm not doing that anymore. So, I'll show you something that is sexy. That. Now, those are sexy. And especially for Chris, that guy up there, super sexy. But, you know, all of these are sexy, and, you know, there are sexy critters like this and species all over the planet. Is it going? Oh, yes. Sorry, I'll hold it on my chin. So, now to define unsexy. Well, unsexy is looking after the sexy things. Now, I probably don't need to talk about any of these. A picture says 1,000 words. Globally significant issue, but you know, look, it's really, really hard work looking after sexy things. It's really unsexy. You know, that unsexy, that's especially unsexy, and we're trying to drive some change into that space. Well, yeah, I'm an advocate actually for 1080, but I'm not going to go there. So, these are unsexy. You know, it's about killing stuff, and you know, unsexy animals with sharp teeth, and other invasive species. So we all have a problem, and that problem is that we're losing species. Extinctions are happening at 100 to 1,000 times Earth's traditional background rates. You know, our business as usual is simply not an option anymore. It's expected to get a lot worse, as some of these other, you know, like with Chris talking, you know, orders of magnitude in the next 100 years. We're in a mass extinction. So the problem is that business as usual is disconnected from sustaining biodiversity. It's incredibly costly. It's labor intensive. It happens in difficult environments, in difficult topography, the real world, not cities and not urban centres. And it's, you know, incredibly challenging. There's lots of health and safety issues. You know, new regulation means that, you know, it's hard for organisations, even like the World Wildlife Fund, to get involved in projects and fund money because there's responsibilities in health and safety with volunteers. So, bringing sexy back. I'm not going to sing. So we developed, I'll save that for later. As part of the process, we've developed a wireless platform, an Internet of Things, that's specifically designed to target this issue. And so it's, you know, low power, long range, you know, easy to deploy, fast. It can be used for a range of applications that span industries like construction, you know, mining, and obviously biodiversity and biosecurity. And we've worked really hard to you know, get this underpinned by really robust technology. And so I'll tell you a little bit how it works. I mean, essentially, it's a bunch of nodes, communication devices that can do a range of things, talk to a base station that someone can stick on a hill, and that data is then provided via, you know, different means like web portals and apps that it's actionable. So the pictures don't show up that well, but you know, that's one of our sort of typical hubs in a really sexy environment. And we've sexed up the things that talk to the hub. We've got, you know, lovely little colourful ear tags on them to make them look appealing, and of course the unsexy items they're attached to are now accessorised quite beautifully, I think. This is also more about the sexy work. You know, we've got sexy people on sexy landscapes, and we've got sexy uniforms with really sexy technology, and we've got kids that are absolutely thrilled and amazed by, you know, these sexy things that is technology in unsexy places. You know, I'm starting to repeat myself. It's pretty sexy stuff, despite the topic. And so, you know, what we're getting involved in is projects where, you know, we can have people doing unsexy work like contract killing, being, you know, things like TB surveillance work in landscapes where the people doing that work can roll out these networks themselves. The farmers, the community groups, the contractors who are doing this at enormous scales all over the country and all over the world. And by rolling out this stuff, it doesn't show up very well, but in this particular picture, there's about 3,000 deployment locations that now can be remotely monitored. And each of these little installations can take, I don't know, a whopping hour at the most to install. Probably, the hubs, we put them up in 10 minutes. And of course, we've got sexy applications that go along with the sexy equipment, and we can drive engagement and that kind of stuff. Now, what all this is about is trying to build an integrated model that enables us to have really large-scale biodiversity projects that bring together what can be conflicting, I guess, industries and intent. So, in this case, primary production and business is one that you wouldn't naturally associate with biodiversity restoration, but we can get businesses and corporates to sponsor programs. Business as usual for farmers means that they are out there, they can be servicing traps if they know where to go to. So these applications can now be rolled out on primary productive landscapes, which is the key here, because that's 60% in New Zealand and globally probably more. We've got obviously community conservation groups, and their volunteers can be more effective. They can do more work. You can, if you know where to go, you can give an hour of your time instead of a day. And also, you don't actually have to go out there that often. And of course, there's better data. So schools, universities, education, engagement, and government agencies that can do trapping programs at much larger scale, much more efficiency, greater efficiency, less travel. Enormous efficiency gains in the programs. And, I'm very proud to be associated with this project. Cape to City is a template. It's an international, it's international reputation. It's a template for potential, work across New Zealand. It's 26,000 hectares, multi-agency, involving lots of traps and lots of travel if you have to check them manually, but lots of research programs around suppressing toxoplasmosis, better TB control. But the vision is to actually have a template and a model that's scalable and that we can roll out over very large areas. So Hawke's Bay, several 100,000 hectares. So New Zealand, does TB control work over hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hectares, and this technology means that we can drive some change into that space in New Zealand and globally. And I can tell you a little bit about that later. And there we go. Extremely sexy.